Hello all, this is Zimnala coming at you with another adventure in the Kingdom of Thornwood. We're going to be picking up where we left off last time in our adventure through Shining in the Darkness, Darkness Edition, in the version 1.51 that I've been replaying. And yeah, we just finished the trial of courage, and we're going to head to the trial of truth now. So we are going to explore that one. Now that is the last trial that I have any data for from my previous playthrough, so this should be faster as well because we are almost fully decked out, but as before I'm going to continue to keep track of what happens and see if anything's different from my original playthrough. But after that it's going to go at a pretty moderately slow pace as I collect data once we get to the next trial, so yeah. We're gonna come down here and see our buddy Mr. Grimwall. See if he's got any new tricks for us. Well, when I last fought him, he could critical hit at least, so he did have that going for him. I'm not really gonna let him have any extra attacks though, like I want to make some inroads on the dungeon, but there are a few of these guys, so if I get really curious, I can check them out. They're also on floor 3 and even floor 4, so of the dungeon, so even much farther down the line I could check them out at that point. Look at you critical hitting for 2. Bravo. Bravo. Look at that critical hit. You like that one? Get wrecked. Yeah, we don't want you guys to cast anything. Please don't. So these guys were actually more dangerous than anything I faced in the next trial, from what I remember. Yeah, and as you can see, we have a decent chance of killing them without them doing too much to us, so that's pretty good. Hey, fire staff, okay. We'll take it. We'll take it. I doubt this works like the one in Battle Edition, but we'll keep it on hand to find out. It doesn't work like that in the regular game either, so I don't actually know how that mod developer had changed that attribute of it, but just having it in your inventory in Battle Edition reduced the damage you took by 75% by fire, so I don't know if that was a bug or a feature, but it sure worked. Made my challenge run a little easier. We will go down that path once, but the entrance that we're going to take is much farther down. Now the toadstools didn't do anything fancy from what I remember. They basically behaved mostly like the normal toadstools, but the one thing that was different from the base game was that they didn't have Divide used at any point when I fought them, so that might have been taken from them. But we'll see. I don't really think it would be a mad problem either way. We all have multi-hit attacks, so that is actually not the case in the base game. I was a little disappointed that these guys didn't do anything though. I always thought they should be a little fancier. But maybe they had something amazing and they were just shy. I mean, I could get that. Hello, Night Stalkers. You didn't manage to hurt us. You got surprised. So tragic. Yeah, that's the entrance we are going to use later, but I mean... And this is the other place that it comes out on. Such a useless shortcut. This entrance isn't even that big. It doesn't need a shortcut. Yeah, this third dungeon trial is basically all about spinners, so... It has 4 spinners that you go past, one of which you don't have to intersect with if you don't want to. And then it has like a section with falling walls. And kind of like the trial of strength, I'm also not going to engage with the ghosts more than once because I want to save them for experimentation later. Because you can only fight them one time and then they never appear again. There we go, Battle Axe. Battle Axe is nothing special. We've already had one actually. We're gonna go back and use that shortcut just to get it mapped out. And that's the entrance of the dungeon we were almost at, so we're gonna just make a loop around and come back for it. Now we aren't gonna actually get through this trial in one go. We're gonna have a bunch of green pads we're gonna go down and sort our way through. They got their paralysis off. Hey, look at you howling. So much howling. They like they're yelling. Okay, we're gonna follow this to the end, which will lead us to the beginning of this. And then we will walk around the edge again. Well, getting some good paralyze hits in. I'll give him that. Now this trial had its own annoying enemy that was a little bit like the clodhoppers from the last one. And the form that these guys one takes is the snakes. Those guys, the death serpents. Was it death serpents? It might have been. We'll see them soon enough. We don't have to guess, but they have the same thing. They steal your mana, but they also have some pretty nasty critical hits. Like, they were hitting me for like 80. So we'll see how we feel about it when we get there. Oh, that's right, we hadn't mapped this area. Now this was an enemy that I thought was a little undertuned before. Let's see if it does something new. It hit decently hard, but it didn't have any abilities other than going twice. But I guess hitting hard isn't too bad. Let's get some of these healing fruits into the mix. I think that way leads to progression. I think this way is treasure, so... take the wisdom seed. Well, at least it keeps giving us healing items, I suppose. That will at least prolong situations. Death grins. So what I have written down for these guys is they can cast slow and quick, so... we'll see if they decide to do something new. We'll give them a chance. They didn't have anything attack going on, so they used to waste most of their turns. But we did raise our defense to as high as we can, so the chances of us actually getting too beat up aren't the highest for a while, outside of magic, so... and actually, Milo should have some defense against magic with the magic hood on. So that's also a thing to keep in mind. So this spin around actually connects to two sides of this, so. Oh, actually, looks like I was misremembering. That's a different side. That's the next one. Yeah, pretty much all the side paths are just like treasure chests and loop-de-loops, so once you actually know which ones to go down, it's super quick. I am going to go down all the wrong ones for mapping's sake, though. But we're not going to actually open the treasure chests. There'll be a couple of exceptions that I know are not ghosts, though, so. Now these bull snouts, I actually never got any abilities off of them my first play. They never actually did any defensive moves like the previous ones of their style. So we'll continue to give them a few chances to do stuff, just in case they impress us. No, they still continue to be a disappointment to their species. It's very, very tragic. And that one's just treasure. We'll leave that behind. Yeah, we're completely decked out. We actually don't need any of the treasure in this dungeon other than the couple that are actually required to get to the next dungeon. Alright, so that's the first spinner down. Now we're gonna look at the next one. Now this one actually has two sides that connect to this spinner, so it won't take long to sort it out. That's one side. This will be the next. This will be another little cul-de-sac leading to treasure, and yeah. That's the second spinner sorted out. Now the third spinner is completely optional. And there is a magic path that becomes that as a shortcut that you don't actually need to use. So that's a thing. This should be deeper in. I think we're gonna make pretty good time on this one. It might take one pass, it might take two. Either way, we're wearing almost the best gear we can. There is a boss in this dungeon, but if he's anything like the first time I fought him, he actually doesn't have anything new going on. So he basically seemed like vanilla, which I actually think is unfortunate. He could have used a little bit of a buff. But yeah. We'll take this path. I think it leads to the shortcut. So we'll end up spinning around and coming back to the same spot again just to map it out. It doesn't even like give you a reward for taking the shortcut. Other than maybe saving like 30 steps. Well, more healer fruit. Actually, this one might not be the shortcut. This might actually be its own little thing. Maybe this is treasure. Alright, then we're still coming up on the shortcut either way. Oh, that's an ability. Look at that. You used flapping. Nice. You actually got something. Fantastic. I'm actually happy for them. So yeah, they got flapping. That's actually a pretty damaging one too. It's a moderate amount of wind damage. You can't use silence to prevent them from casting. I guess I could also use the healing herbs, huh? Nice. That's a treasure chest we don't need. Cool. Well, that makes me happy. I don't know if that was tweaked in, but I do rather suspect it was. I did think they were a little undertuned, but maybe they just got shy. Either way, it is confirmed they can do it, so I am happy about that. Ah, that's right, there was this little section. 3 little, like, turns of bullshit. This one should be a fountain, the next one is an empty one, and the third one is a treasure chest. Look at that, another leather robe to sell. There's an awful lot of enemies that drop leather robes in this early area, which isn't terrible. Leather robe is a decent equipment for 2 of your characters, so. It also sells for a nice even 1,000, so it makes a nice find. And boost is actually super overpowered in this game, so. I don't actually think I had anything written for Tomb Walkers other than they can use Paralyzed Powder, so let's see if they got something else going on. Oh yeah, they could flex. That's right. They could also flex. Look at that, yeah, Paralyzed Pyra, good for you. Yeah, that's about what I knew about them. They used all the abilities I knew. Get you. Alright, that's that little path sorted out. This should be a combination of the shortcut in one direction and I think treasure the other, so we are going to go this way first and map it out, and then we're going to follow the green slime path there, and yeah. There's that. And this leads to a shortcut you don't need. Yeah, death rattlers are the enemy that will make this place potentially a problem. Yep, look at that. You did it. So one of their attacks, which is draining, is a problem in one direction, and their attacks can critical hit for a ton of damage, so whether they're attacking or draining, they're a problem. Because they're definitely the problem of this dungeon. This is like a little cul-de-sac here. It does mean that they're the priority target in every scenario where they show up, though. So they're probably the reason why we'll have to leave and come back, is just because like it's hard for us to kill them before they get a chance to drain us, because they're actually pretty fast as well. They have a decent chance of going faster than Milo. So while usually Milo and Pyra can kill it while working together, they do sometimes go before Milo and get their chance to drain. It's good to have a pretty solid nuisance enemy for an area. Definitely keeps you looking out for them, that's for sure. Yep, there's the wall we get to meet. Yep, and this leads to a little loop around. No, I might not actually loop down this way because I plan on leaving it coming up, so I don't think I have to map this out first. Because I have like a set point at which I plan on skedaddling out of this for the halfway point. Yep, I already knew you could do slow. There's more treasure, we're gonna sort that out at a future time. This should be, yep, this is the third one. You don't actually have to go anywhere on this, it doesn't actually do anything useful for it, because that's 2 of the directions. And the third one actually isn't any better. Oh yeah. So this way actually leads to this dead end. That actually loops into the path we were already taking. So if we just like followed around that corner, we would have ended up here anyway. So that's the way I'm gonna take on my next journey back here. So I don't even have to map it this time, I'll just take that path. Just like I'll take the longer path on the other playthrough. 'Cause, we're actually almost up to the 4th and final spinner up here. This bad Larry right here. Yeah, my goal is to map out this little green area so I don't have to next time. Although there is a part of it you need to pick up at one point. We can just pick it up now because unlike in Battle Edition... Oh, here's an enemy. These guys use the Force and I think that's probably the only thing that they do. That's usually what only thing they can do in the base game either. Although they can actually attack individually if they're there, but they don't prefer to do it, so they probably won't. But inside here is the False Idol. But in Battle Edition, it's actually cursed, so anyone using it actually ends up under the effect of Muddle 2 at all times. So just having it in your inventory is a real problem. Because your character's just going to be attacking all of your friends. So I'm actually not sure like how that mod maker added that attribute to that item, but it did make for a very dangerous journey here in this 3rd trial. Especially if you didn't know about it and like gave it to someone that was super well equipped. They could easily kill off all your party members. Look at you, critical hitting. See, that's the other thing that they can do. They don't just cast spells on us. Yeah, we're gonna get some basic health back. And yeah, this is this area back again, and yeah, gonna finish mapping out this little thing. So the progression is this way, so. But I am going to go back to town, restore my mana, sell off my nonsense. Maybe buy the last item that's useful, so. We got enough to get it? We certainly do. So there is a special in here that gives you the long spear. So this actually has been changed from the base. Every character can actually use it, but our main character is gonna wear it. I mean, carry it. I'm going to head back in. But the idea is that if you know you're gonna fight a boss, you can put that on instead of the targeting everyone Morningstar and get a boost of damage against a boss. If I remember correctly, that spear has 75 attack on it. So it's like almost like a 45 attack boost off of what we're currently wearing. So it's by far the most damaging item in this part of the game. And every character can actually use it. That's the other part of it. But it is worth noting that Pyra's whip is actually pretty strong, so it would be less effective to give it to her than anyone else at this point. So either your main character or Milo could get use out of it. It probably doesn't even matter which one. We're not going that way yet. Yep. So now we're gonna mosey our way back there. It should take even less time. We're not gonna take any side paths. Look at you flapping. Once you see it, they decided they just want to use it regularly, huh? Interesting. They're shy the first time. Never again. Oh, it is good to get a couple of things. Like this dungeon actually had pretty much a lack of spellcasters and magic enemies in general. The first time I played through. Actually, we still have healing herbs, right? I mean, healing fruit? No? Okay. That's fine. We do still have magic. That will work. Well, they're definitely doing stuff to us. And now we're back into the breach. We are gonna tear our way right past all of these spinners and be right back where we're at. If you avoid all the cul-de-sacs and nonsense in this is one of the shortest trials. Only rivaled by the second one if you only worry about one of the two paths, so... The third one can be kind of, I mean, the last trial can also be pretty short if you just don't get trapped with the trapdoors. You just know the right way. You bypass like 80, like, not 80, like maybe like 40% of the nonsense. I mean, in many ways, the first one's actually the longest one, because it's the only one that doesn't have any shortcuts. Yeah, the first two are super easy, they're just straight. So, this one's also just straight across, so... And the third one we don't have to engage with again, so... Hello, Sideblock. So these guys do show up here too. I don't have any stats for them, so I kind of feel bad. I want to let them have a chance. Show us something you can do. You did 1 damage. Let's give him a few turns. Let's let the poor guy try. That's the third time. Let's give him 2 more tries. I just kind of feel bad beating on him, you know? If there's an enemy that needs a buff, this guy needs something. This poor Sideblock. He's one of the least threatening enemies even in the second dungeon. This is the 3 bullshit turns. That's the shortcut. This is the long way. Of course. Wouldn't be this dungeon without the Death Rattlers coming up to be a problem. Don't get wrecked. Hey, it's a Madu. They sell for good money. We're actually like capped out on things we can buy though, so it's not gonna help us right now. But I mean, it'll be welcome when we get to unlocking the trader and experimenting with their stock. So this is that corner I was talking about. There is the last spinner. These 2 markers could probably use an attack spell too, but other than that... As it is, they're just a paralysis option. But other than that, they don't have much they can do to you. Other than slow you down a little. I guess we'll top off. Never know when the Death Rattlers want to be a critical hit problem. There's the prison door. We'll be back for that some point. Hello there, Sea Stallion. Like I said last time, they only do pretty solid attacks from what I've seen, so. Another treasure chest that we're not gonna get right now. I actually don't remember which of these two is the right way, but we'll see. I could probably tell by looking at the map. So we'll take a peek. We got plenty of magic. Oh yeah, this doesn't go to the end. Okay. Fountain, this is probably another treasure. Yeah, it's a little cul-de-sac with a couple of passageways. And one treasure that we're not gonna mess with. Now the Dark Wizards can cast Bolt too, so that's their claim to fame. I do hope that the War Lizards were given something a little bit fancier than just having a bunch of health like they had before. But it's okay either way. Just need to make sure I didn't get turned around. The back half of this trial usually blends in my mind. Okay, yeah. That's progression. Let's just double check on that. Yeah, this is the way towards it. Understood. And this comes up to a really complex, like, series of cul-de-sacs with nonsense. You go up here in this big open room and bam! You're gonna be filling in a lot of walls if you bump into them over here. This is like the last hurrah of this dungeon. Look at you. Pretty good hit. Look at you. You did an even better hit. So yeah, these guys can get you pretty good if they get lucky. We should be able to chew through them if we actually attack. But they're still getting their licks in. Let's keep healed. Yep, bam, bam, blam. And these guys do some decent damage too if they cast Bolt. A level 1 Bolt. You got level 1 too? They can also cast level 2. Well, Bolt level 1 is significantly less damaging, but let's put that in their list. I doubt they lost the ability to cast level 2. They probably just have both. So I'm just gonna add it in rather than anything else. We'll keep an eye out. Yep, so that's this side of this done. So now we're gonna take the long way around and map that out. I also have screen, by the way. It doesn't usually work. Screen's kind of a not very useful status ailment in this game. You'd think it would be, but it kind of usually isn't. As much as killing those guys would be satisfying, I think they can actually only do like 40 damage to one person, so that's much less than the 20 to everyone. So yeah, we're gonna basically fill in those slots. These guys are sturdy. They give a lot of EXP. You can howl, that's new. They never howled before, so that is something new. That would make them a little trickier. But I mean, I think that's still gonna go down pretty quick. They could cast quick level 2, that was the only thing I had written down. And that's not enough to actually constitute a danger. But they are a nuisance if they can call for help, because that will slow you down. Oh, you guys got paralyzed hit? I might not have had that written down for them. Yeah, so that might be new, or it might not be new. Not actually sure. But they have paralyzed hits. Cool. They probably should have had paralyzed hits, so it's good that they do. It does make them slightly more of a potential threat. Yep, that's a cul-de-sac. Yeah, we've sorted out about half of this. There's a little spot this direction that you can get. It has a little treasure chest that we're not going to touch. There is another one right here. Oh, you got critical hits. That's actually pretty spicy. Alright, I'll take it back. They got some stuff going on. That either got buffed or they just didn't want to use it the first time. I'm not sure which, but yeah, now they're a bit of a threat. Especially because they can summon their friends, so I approve. So yeah, this links up to that. Let's get the overview. So yeah, basically this loops back around and connects up to that little spot that we'd reached before. And there's like a final little nonsense part of this area as well, but I mean, this was the only part that was actually complex. So you got the spinners, you got this little spot right here. Yeah, and this turn right here is where we'd mapped to before, so that's the full loop. But yeah, you basically miss out on 2 treasure chests if you just take that easy right. But it is much shorter and simpler to get to. I do believe that none of the other treasure chests after this point have any of the ghosts, so I'm gonna open them all. Just so I don't have to go past this puzzle to get them later. Did I get a healer fruit? Let's just use that. And here we are, we finished it. Just kidding. Oh, the full squad of these guys is probably gonna be fun, but we'll hopefully kill some of them or all of them before they can do anything. Looks like that's not the case. As I said, they're actually pretty speedy. Kinda wish you wouldn't. Well, we got past half of them. We'll take it. Yeah, woe is you. They've got strong woes. How about we just let them go without talking to them? So yeah, we are going to actually put our spear on. That'll make this easier. But the only thing that this guy did before was actually do sleep hit. So that was the only move I saw him do. Which is vanilla, like that's all he could do in the base game. He also didn't seem any more difficult than the base game. Hello, Doppler. Yeah, let's give him one turn to do something. Let us quick up, let us defend. So he did one attack. That did almost nothing. We'll give him a couple turns. What I remember is that he can put you to sleep. Like that. It's not especially dangerous, so yeah, we'll just beat on him a bit. He's not even attacking multiple times, so like he's actually less dangerous than most of the other enemies in this area. So this guy definitely needs a buff from this state. Although he does have some tankiness to him, he doesn't actually do any damage, so he could flex. I guess that's an ability. It's a defense though. It's got sleep hit and flex. So from the list of what he can drop a dark block, but I don't consider that super important, so I wouldn't farm it. But if you want them to be something that actually gives their items up, you might want to buff their item drops to actually just give it to you, so you don't have to like save state to get their items or whatever. So yeah, we're gonna get the rune key, which is just a straight replacement for the other one. So these Jacko Butches, we couldn't hit last time, they just run. But we'll try. You can howl for help, and you summon fungoids. Look at you. Oh boy. Well, that's different. Let's write that down. That's actually interesting. I don't know anything about fungoids. So let's get my documents up and start putting entries in. So from what I remember, fungoids are actually normally from either the end of the next cave or from level 2. So the fact that they can summon them is actually a little spicy. But yeah, we're gonna write down that they can howl. And I'm going to put an asterisk that it is. For fungoids and not themselves. So now we've got fungoids in the mix. Let's make an entry for them. I wasn't gonna do that yet, but I mean, clearly the need has come up. I don't think I can actually get their EXP values. This is too complex of a group, but I can write down their abilities. So poison powder. do some decent damage to us. What I know is that they drop healing fruit too, but they do poison powder. We're probably going to kill them without too much trouble though, if I was to imagine. They didn't do much damage, they can divide, so that's something. That's 2 abilities. But yeah, all of us are largely multi-hitting, although I didn't actually put a multi-hit back on the hero, so we should probably do that. That is a lot of experience. The Fungoids must have a lot of experience. Maybe it's also the Jack-O Butches. What? We did, in fact, get to fight one, but only because it howled. I am, in fact, interested in fighting more of them to find out what they do give us for EXP, though. It'll have to be a simpler battle, though. Maybe one where it's just Jack-O Butches. Well, actually, that's also a problem, because if they actually manage to summon Fungoids, it's gonna mix us up. Well, so far they're only casting level 1. Maybe they did get nerfed a bit. What do we got going on here? Okay, so that way it's progression, and the way behind us is a cul-de-sac with probably treasure. Yeah, I do think that the Fungoids are from level 2. So, the fact that they can summon them is a little interesting. Are most of us just paralyzed? No, just Milo. Okay, that's fine. It's just Milo. We should be able to make it to the end of this without too much trouble. Bonk. There's not actually much more to this little green spot, but other than that, it goes almost straight there. Yeah, unlike this one, the 4th trial has some complexity to it, but actually I'm gonna pick this up. I know it's not a Battle Axe, which is still one we've seen before, but we're gonna sell it. I just don't want to come back this far to get it. So it's the same thing as last time. Let's see if we can get him again. They also have the Warily, which I think is just a higher chance to escape. But yeah, we don't really have any chance of figuring out exactly what they do. For EXP. We'd have to come back for it. Or catch a group that just has them and get them before they can do anything. We just aren't fast enough for it. But the good news is we will be coming back here, so if you do want to know, we can find out. That would kind of negate what I said about coming back this deep in, though, so oh well. We'll do it if we want to find out. But that is the end of this trial. Bam. We can escape from this nightmare. We can go back to town. We can clear out our inventory of nonsense. And yep, we are completely decked out with everything we can buy that is worth having in the shops. We're gonna save it up. Okay. And I'm gonna pop out to this area, and I'll talk a little bit about how I felt about the experience in the new version. So yeah, I do think that the additions that were made to what the monsters could do, if they were in fact additions, was pretty nice. I do like that in this last trial, the Trial of Truth, that the bat wings, the bat could actually do that to us. I'll get the name. The dark wings could actually do flap against us. That does enough damage to actually be a comparable threat to what the Night Stalkers could do, although they were easier to deal with as well because they were squishier. It was also nice to see that the War Lizards also had a critical hit option to them too and could summon allies, so I think that was added to them. I didn't have any evidence of them doing that before, so that was also an interesting change. I don't know if the Dark Wizards just didn't want to cast Bolt level 2 or if it did actually get nerfed. So I'm gonna put a question mark next to that in my notes because I never experienced it. So that'll just mean that when I come back here, I'll let them try a few times to find out. I do think that the Sea Stallions, and even the one time I fought the Ghost in the last iteration, and even the Doppler, they all need to be like buffed a little, given a little something. I don't know. I also don't know if the Bull Snouts just don't have an ability or just never wanted to use it, but they also seemed pretty plain and didn't really do enough damage to be any sort of threat. But yeah, other than that, I like the balance of this cave pretty good. Well, yeah, I'm gonna call the stream here. We did that about an hour faster as well, so yeah. You all take care, and I'll catch you next time, and on that time we'll be doing all new adventure for me. So you take care. Bye-bye.